Malam dan Assalamualaikum kepada para hadirin yang hadir ke Forum Malaysiakini untuk kali yang kesekian kalinya. Jadi buat yang first time yang datang ke pejabat Malaysiakini, kami ucapkan selamat datang, dan yang dah banyak kali datang, kita ucapkan selamat datang lagi sekali. Jadi inilah pejabat kami, sederhana, tak terlalu besar sebab kami tak ada 2.6 bilion kan. So kalau mungkin ada 26 bilion, kita akan lagi besarkan lagi pejabat ni, insya-Allah. Dan sebelum tu kami nak bagi tahu bahawa nanti pada perhimpunan BERSIH Sabtu dan Ahad ni, kita akan ada satu aplikasi yang akan memaparkan live update semasa BERSIH nanti. Dan untuk menerangkan secara lanjut mengenai aplikasi itu, saya serahkan kepada Nantania untuk bercakap mengenai perkara itu.
Terima kasih. Selamat malam. Dengan izin saya teruskan dengan bahasa Inggeris, if you don't mind. Good evening, everyone. I just take a few, maybe about 10 minutes to explain a little bit about the app that we've launched today. Basically, we've developed an app that makes it easy for broadcasters to deliver live updates to your phone. It's like getting messages via WhatsApp, news updates and instructions and notifications. So we work together with BERSIH, and it's been decided that they will use this app to provide live updates and rally instructions on the day itself. So this app will be used to communicate gathering points, where to go, where to disperse, and things like that. So if you get with just a few minutes, I'll show you how it works roughly. For those who are interested to download the app, it's currently only available on Android. We are trying to do the iPhone version as soon as possible. But for this weekend, we just be available on Android. You can download it by going to the website www.primekini.com, or you can search for Prime Kini Labs on Google Play, 3 separate words. It's on the board here. Okay, so again, official BERSIH updates and instructions. And Malaysiakini will also be using this app to provide news updates on BERSIH and also after for live news. Okay, so once you download, just give you a brief tour. Once you download the app, you can try it now if you like. This is the first page you'll see. These are the available streams that you can subscribe to. So if you want Malaysiakini updates, you can choose whether you want them in English or in BM. And then if you want BERSIH updates, you can choose BERSIH. So once you're inside the app, if you click on BERSIH, what you'll see is it'll give you this option to subscribe, and it'll give you the option between updates and rally instructions or updates only. So for those of you who will be on the ground on Saturday, then it's good to subscribe to updates and rally instructions, and then you'll get say, oh, this is a good place to gather, be here, now the crowd is here, move to this place and such. And they'll give you like instructions about what to do if you get tear gas, who to call, emergency numbers, maps and things like that. If you're not going to be on the ground and you don't want to receive so many messages, maybe you can just subscribe to updates only, so they'll give you only news, pictures and things like that. So if you go back to the stream page, and then if you choose, let's say, a Malaysiakini English, you have a choice of how often you want to get news. So this service will be running every day. If you want to get maybe about 5 news stories a day when it comes out, you can choose top stories. If you only prefer to get 1 notification on your phone a day, you can choose daily digest or breaking news only. And you can also choose live updates. That means, if there's a by-election results every 5 or 10 minutes, we'll give you the latest information. Okay? So, and once you've subscribed to the streams that you want to subscribe to, this will be your home page. So it's a little bit like a WhatsApp each conversation. So you have your Malaysiakini stream and your BERSIH stream. And if you click on, let's say, the Malaysiakini stream, it will look something like this. So they'll give you just simple news updates. Maybe pictures, like from a few days ago, there's an anti-BERSIH rally. This is a picture of the guys in red shirts. So we'll send that information straight to your phone. Or updates about, small 1-paragraph pieces of news with links to the full Malaysiakini news. Okay? And that's it. So we'll be, again, right now we only have 3 channels, Malaysiakini English, Malaysiakini BM, and BERSIH. These are the functioning channels. And we'll add more as we go along. So hopefully, once again, just go to primekini.com or search for Prime Kini Labs at Google Play. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okey, terima kasih. Jangan lupa untuk download Prime Kini untuk mengetahui dengan live update terkini tentang Bersih 4 pada Sabtu dan Ahad ini. Okey, tanpa membuang masa, saya mengalu-alukan dan menjemput panelis kita pada forum kali ini untuk naik ke atas pentas. Iaitu yang pertama, saya menjemput tokoh editor yang dikenali dan juga pengulas politik, iaitu Datuk Abdul Kadir Jasin, untuk naik ke atas pentas, Datuk. Dan yang kedua, kita jemput mantan menteri dan juga ahli politik yang turut dikenali dengan kelantangan ini juga, iaitu Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah. Dan yang ketiga, saya jemput mantan Timbalan Menteri Datuk Sieu. Dan yang keempat, pengurusi Bersih 2.0 yang kini disebut-sebut Malaysian Abdullah, dan juga moderator kita, penasihat editorial Malaysiakini Encik Fatty Aris Omar. Jadi tanpa membuang masa, saya menyerahkan mikrofon ini kepada Encik Fatty Omar untuk meneruskan acara.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat malam kepada hadirin hadirat sekalian. Tidak, malam ini awal kita punya peserta datang memenuhi ruang forum Malaysiakini ini. Kita sejak pindah di bangunan baru ini Disember tahun lepas, memulakan sesi forum hampir setiap bulan daripada Februari, kecuali ditangguhkan sikit pada bulan Ramadan dan raya ya. Jadi hari ini kita bertuah dapat bersama dengan ahli-ahli panel. Ini saya ingat sesi forum kita yang dipenuhi ahli-ahli panel yang berprofil tinggi. Sebahagian besarnya tak perlu diperkenalkan lagi sebenarnya, sentiasa muncul di dada-dada akhbar kita sejak bertahun-tahun. Tapi kita sebut secara umum, dia jalin jauh sekali, hujung sekali yang baju pink, ya, Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, bekas timbalan ya Menteri Pengajian Tinggi ya, kalau tak salah saya dulu, dan sekarang ini bersama rakan moderat global GMM. Sebelah beliau Sieu, sahabat kepada Datuk Saifuddin, juga bekas timbalan menteri, bekas pemimpin kanan MCA pada satu waktu, sekarang ini sebagai presiden bersama Pusat untuk Lebih Baik, dalam bahasa Inggerisnya Center for Better Tomorrow, SAMBET. Dan di sebelah kiri Datuk Kadir Jasin, satu tokoh editor yang sangat lama berpengalaman dalam dunia politik tanah air, seorang penulis blog yang berkesan, yang mengaruhi banyak pandangan-pandangan politik yang Malaysia kini selalu kutip pandangan beliau. Dan yang kanan sekali dengan saya yang pakai baju kuning, yang tidak asing lagi, Malaysian Abdullah, pengurusi Bersih 2.0. Tadi dah ada jaminan tak ada takampat sebelum Bersih hari Sabtu ini. Jadi saya kata kalau nak tangkap pun tangkap tengah forum ni, ada boleh buat berita. Okey, jadi ringkasnya ialah saya secara formatnya kita buat secara ringkas saja, iaitu saya memberikan minta ahli panel membentangkan pandangan mereka dalam tempoh 10-15 minit, dan kemudian kita terus bermuka kepada sesi soal jawab. Kerana saya ingat tajuk YMDB, apa nak berlaku pada negara kita, macam mana nak keluar merungkaikan kemelut ini, persoalan yang dah dibincangkan oleh hampir semua orang selama berminggu-minggu, selama berbulan-bulan. Cuma hari ini kita tengok update terkini pandangan 4 ahli panel kita, dan kita boleh bersoal jawab secara langsung dengan mereka. Tapi secara umumnya sebelum ini saya nak membacakan semacam kronologi event-event yang sangat penting dalam tempoh sebulan dua ini, sebagai latar kepada peristiwa perdebatan kita hari ini, iaitu protes rakyat ataupun Dewan Rakyat. Dua perkara ini dibincangkan kerana kita akan berdepan dengan satu demonstrasi besar anjuran bersih pada minggu ini, dan juga cakap-cakap tentang bagaimana nak merungkaikan kemeluk ini, antaranya melalui proses parlimen, iaitu melalui undi tidak percaya. Ada orang kata undi tak percaya ini proses menggulingkan kerajaan. Jadi kita tak tahu daripada ahli panel adakah begitu bentuknya, adakah possible, bagaimana sifat tokoh apa-apa wakil-wakil rakyat, BN dan juga pembangkang menghadapan dengan masalah ini, ya. Okey. Secara kronologinya, pada awal Julai, iaitu waktu kita tengah berpuasa, orang Islam tengah berpuasa, Wall Street Journal melaporkan sejumlah 700 million juta ataupun dalam ringgitnya 2.6 bilion masuk ke akaun seseorang yang bernama Najib Abdul Razak. Dan pada 17 Julai orang Islam menyambut hari raya, dan tidak lama minggu selepas cuti raya itu DH melaporkan tentang peranan seseorang bernama Jolo dan juga bagaimana satu syarikat bernama Petro Saudi, dan istilah mereka cheated the Malaysian about 1.4 billion dollar, ya. Selepas itu, jadi kita sebenarnya tak pernah rehat daripada bulan puasa. Selepas raya je terus disambut dengan gegaran-gegaran politik dalam isu ini. Pada 21 Julai atau lebih tepat lagi pada 22 Julai, Tony Puah dilarang keluar negara. Ini juga berkaitan dengan YMDB, One Malaysia Development Berhad. Dan Rafizi merasakan apabila dia semak, nama dia juga senasib dengan Tony Puah, tapi tak dapat disahkan. Pada 27 Julai, hari Isnin, akhbar harian dan mingguan niaga yang terkenal, yang lama dalam pasaran, DH digantung selama 3 bulan. Dan pengumuman penggantungan ini dibuat beberapa hari sebelum itu, iaitu pada hari Jumaat. Pada 28 Julai, hari Selasa, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin dan beberapa tokoh lagi seperti Tan Sri Abdullah bukan daripada jawatan masing-masing. Tan Sri Muhyiddin dalam reshuffle ataupun perombakan kabinet. Dan sehari selepas itu, 29 Julai, BERSIH mengumumkan akan mengadakan penghimpunan besar pada 29 dan 30 hari bulan selama 34 jam. Kemudian tak lama kita sangkakan reshuffle kabinet itu satu tindakan yang drastik dan luar biasa. Rupa-rupanya tak selesai setakat itu. Selain daripada Majlis Tertinggi UMNO Supreme Council ditangguhkan yang sepatutnya diadakan pada 1 Julai, seminggu selepas itu 7 Ogos, 2 pegawai kanan SPRM termasuk pengarah operasi khas tiba-tiba mendadak pada hari Jumaat dilaporkan akan ditukarkan ke Jabatan Perdana Menteri. Tak lama lepas itu, apabila rungutan ramai daripada publik termasuk pemimpin-pemimpin UMNO dan menteri, beberapa hari dibatalkan pertukaran mereka. Dan pada 19 Ogos kita mendengar, ya, dalam rombakan yang sama dengan Tan Sri Abdul Ghani, Peguam Negara, ada juga pertukaran pengarah cawangan khas, ketua pengarah khas, ya. Tapi pada 19 Ogos kita sangka dengan MACC bila mereka membatalkan pertukaran itu sudah hampir reda. Tidak, rupa-rupanya pada 19 Ogos baru lalu, kira seminggu lalu, timbalan pengarah special branch pula ditukar. Dan kali ini dia tak duduk diam. Beberapa hari lalu beliau mengadakan sidang akhbar, dan saya ingin petik beberapa kata-kata beliau di sidang akhbar itu seperti dilaporkan oleh Sinar Harian pada 23 Ogos. Ini petikan daripada timbalan pengarah cawangan khas SB, ya, mesti bukan pandangan saya, ini dalam tanda kutip. Saya nak sampaikan mesej di Putrajaya. Mereka yang punya ijazah tinggi melangit bidang pengurusan universiti ternama, mereka yang ada kuasa politik di Putrajaya, saya seru, bukalah mata. buka telinga, jangan pekakkan telinga. Buang denial syndrome. Ini adalah faktanya. Rakyat gelisah, ini kata Datuk Hamid Badur ya. Rakyat gelisah, rakyat keliru, tertekan di bawah. Segenap lapisan tanpa kira kaum, agama, umur, profesion, wilayah, sama ada di Tawau atau di Kuala Perlis, rakyat gelisah, marah dengan apa yang berlaku sekarang. Jadi sebagaimana tanggapan umum, memang isu ini dibincangkan dengan hangat. Lagi banyak seorang itu membaca di internet dan perkembangan YMDB, krisis ekonomi, depreciation ringgit ya, gelisah dengan perkara ini. Jadi di malam yang bertuah ini kita berkesempatan dengan 4 orang ahli panel kita untuk membincangkan topik ini, sama ada apakah langkah-langkah yang kita boleh buat. Adakah protes rakyat seperti BERSIH 4 ataupun undi tidak percaya di Dewan Rakyat, ataupun ada langkah-langkah lain yang boleh kita ambil untuk menyelesaikan masalah ekonomi politik. Dia sebenarnya lebih kepada politik, tapi ada kesan ekonomi kerana kegelisahan tentang jatuhnya nilai ringgit yang berterusan sama beberapa minggu mutakhir lah. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, tanpa mengikut susunan, saya serahkan dulu pembicaraan pertama. Cik Gan boleh mulakan dulu ya? Ya, okey. Silakan. 10 atau 15 minit ya.
Testing. Terima kasih Fatih, salam petang, salam sejahtera. Sebelum saya menyentuh topik pada malam ini, suka saya nak sebutkan satu perkara dulu. Negara yang kita cinta ini tengah melalui suatu krisis yang skalanya jauh lebih besar yang kita bayangkan pada peringkat awal. Iaitu dia bukan sahaja satu krisis kerajaan barisan nasional politik, bukan sahaja krisis politik kerajaan barisan nasional. Dia dah degenerate, mengadakan kesan domino yang melibatkan krisis ekonomi yang tengah berkembang, krisis of our institutional integrity, krisis yang kita dapat lihat hari ini, mata wang kita jatuh, tak berhenti, tak berturut-turutan, dan krisis politik, the political process of our nation become a big question mark. Itulah satu saya nak, as a background, I want to highlight this. Okay, berkaitan dengan tajuk malam ni, conceptually, yang secara konsep kita mesti jelaskan protes rakyat ataupun Dewan Rakyat sebenarnya dia bukannya suatu konsep yang mutually exclusive, A atau B. Sama kita lebih bercenderung kepada protes rakyat ataupun kepada Dewan Rakyat. No, that's not the point. They are not mutually exclusive. Sebenarnya kedua-dua ni adanya pendekatan dan peranan masing-masing. So that is the point. First point I want to make. Point number 2. Walaupun Maria penganjur bersih telah mengeluarkan 5 tuntutan, tetapi bagi saya sebenarnya satu saja. Itu satu saja, iaitu sama ada kita nak minta Perdana Menteri kita dalam political crisis yang kita mengalami sekarang ni ambil cuti semasa siasatan dijalankan ataupun letakkan jawatan. So to me, BERSIH will be a referendum of the people towards the current administrations under PM Najib. And I think people will attend BERSIH for one simple reason of anger, frustration, and the crisis, the uncertainty of crisis that we are facing. Itulah pandangan saya yang apa yang akan berlaku bagi krisis BERSIH yang akan yang akan berlaku tak lama lagi. Okay, back to street protest, ya, protes rakyat. Saya dah barangkali kata protes, peaceful assembly, demonstrasi secara damai, street protest, semuanya telah dilindungi di bawah hak kita, di bawah perlembagaan persekutuan. It's our constitutional right. Coupled with that, the right of assembly, right of march, you want to march, or holding peaceful march and all that. This is our constitutional right, and this has been expressed in the Peaceful Assembly Act. Now, that was a couple of years ago, we introduced a new bill, a new law on that. Two, it is also a part of hak bersuara dengan marching in the street, wearing baju bersih, ataupun pakai macam mana. You are making a statement. We are making a statement. So, the whole process of BERSIH organizing this activity now, this time round, is more about a vote of confidence from the people's point of view, a referendum towards the administrations of PM Najib. Two is we must keep emphasizing, as what Maria has said that many times, that this is a peaceful march, and therefore, we are also experiencing the constitutional rights that we enjoy, and also the rights of expression through an activity, a rally like that, a rally organized by Maria through BERSIH. And to me, when it comes back to Dewan Rakyat, I openly said it from my civil society, Sambat. I openly said that before. The process perlembagaan, the correct political process to change, to remove, to unseat a prime minister is through parliament. I think the last thing that we want to see, as I read from BERSIH as well, is we want to have a very radical movement, overthrow or topple the government through unconstitutional means. That's not what we want. I think BERSIH has made it absolutely clear on that. And I'm sure those people who participate and menyertai BERSIH ni hold that in mind very clearly. So no questions of violence, no questions of radicalisms, to the point that we want to employ unconstitutional process to topple or unseat the parliament. But this is a very good platform and mechanisms to express our view, whether giving the kind of background, political background, the political crisis and economic crisis that we're facing now, whether we want PM Najib to still carry on. So that, I think, is the important point, is how through this process of protest rakyat, we can show it to our members of parliament, or even, I even suggested, go back to your constituency, be it PKR, DAP, BN component parties, tell that to them to express your view, holding a petition, signing campaign in your constituency. Tell your member of parliament that's what you want, and that is something I think that we can do, and that we should, through my civil society, I've expressed that. I will stop that at that stage. Thank you.
Terima kasih Encik Gan. Precise, ringkas saja, malah tak sampai 10 minit ya. Tapi saya ulang sedikit kerana poin-poinnya ringkas dan padat dan senang dipahami, iaitu beliau tidak menganggap tema kita hari ini, protes rakyat ataupun Dewan Rakyat, satu pilihan yang bersifat either or, mutually exclusive. Dia overlapping. Malah yang menarik dari pandangan beliau ialah ini, dia kata satu referendum kepada pentadbiran Datuk Seri Najib. Kalau ramai yang turun ni, maksudnya ramai orang menolaknya. Kalau kurangnya Maria, kuranglah orang menolaknya. Jadi mereka, tentunya Datuk Seri Najib gembiralah kalau tak ramai orang datang. Apatah lagi kalau orang baca berita dekat Star hari ni, takut kena parang lah segala macam. Nanti Maria boleh barangkali boleh sentuh. Dan memberi jaminan bahawa protes ini sendiri adalah satu rights, ya, satu hak kita. Dan ini bukan satu langkah menumbangkan kerajaan secara di luar perlembagaan. Ini satu yang dijamin, malah dan sebut tadi adalah telah dijamin dalam pindaan Akta Perhimpunan Aman sebelum ini. Tapi melengahkan masa, saya silakan Datuk daripada awal lagi pagi tadi telefon nak jadi speaker nombor 2. Jadi silakan. Kita transparent Datuk. Tak macam kawan kita tu dia tu. Kita transparent. Jadi silakan Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Terima kasih Saudara Fatih dan terima kasih kerana sudi jemput saya. Ini kali kedua ke pejabat baru Malaysiakini. Kali pertama ialah menengok batu bata yang saya beli di sana. Dan ini adalah kali yang kedua. Itu sebabnya saya minta jadi ahli panel kedua. Ya. Saudara dan saudari yang dikasihi sekalian, saya ingin mula dengan mengajak kita melihat gambaran yang luas, gambaran yang besar tentang apa yang berada di hadapan kita ini. The big picture. Yang pertama ialah tentang rakyat, dan yang kedua ialah tentang masa depan. Dan kedua-duanya itu saling berkait antara satu dengan lain. Dari segi rakyat, sekarang ini ada satu terkumpul an accumulation of sarcasm, frustration, anger. Terkumpul perasaan-perasaan yang sedemikian rupa, dan ada banyak sebab. Kalau satu ketika dulu ada timbalan Perdana Menteri yang dipecat, pada masa itu rakyat melihatnya sebagai isu politik. Tapi hari ini apabila seorang lagi timbalan Perdana Menteri dipecat, rakyat tidak melihatnya sekadar politik. It's no longer a political issue. It is beyond politics. Ada rakyat yang merasa seperti helpless kerana things don't seem to change while the people are hoping for change to happen. Pokok pangkalnya, there is an accumulation of trust deficit towards the government, and the trust deficit is at all-time high. Ya. Krisis keyakinan yang paling tinggi terhadap kerajaan. Dan di kalangan rakyat semacam ada satu bottom line. There seems to be a bottom line among the people that we are tired of being talked down, of being seen as, like our intelligence, diperbodohkan. Our intelligence has been insulted. Yeah. Rakyat sudah serik dileter, rakyat sudah serik diperbodohkan, dan akhir-akhir ini dibangsatkan. Dari satu segi rakyat mengharap kepada kerajaan, nampaknya sukar. Dari satu segi rakyat melihat kepada pembangkang, nampaknya mereka berhadapan dengan keadaan sukar. Itu yang saya kata tadi, semacam berlaku helplessness. Tetapi yang paling pentingnya ialah kita mula melihat ada cumulative courage among some people to speak up. Dan ini pada saya sangat penting. Kalau Maria speak up itu biasa. Gamping Sieu dengan saya pun biasa juga. Tapi kalau bekas kaki tangan kerajaan yang senior-senior mula bercakap, now that is new. Apabila ada pegawai kerajaan yang tinggi yang masih dalam servis yang mengatakan kamu ada kuasa, aku ada Tuhan, now that is something. Ya. Saya rasa apa yang sedang berlaku ialah segolongan daripada rakyat, mungkin sebahagiannya dipimpin oleh saudari Maria, sedang mendapatkan semula the moral compass of this beautiful nation of ours. I think the message is very clear. People are reclaiming the moral compass. And this is what BERSIH 4 is all about. It's quite funny about how people look at BERSIH 4. It's quite interesting. If you follow what is happening online, there are interesting anecdotes. Dulu, BERSIH 4 dianggap semuanya buruk. Tetapi dalam buruk-buruk itu ditubuhkan juga jawatan kuasa khas parlimen berhubung penambahbaikan proses pilihan raya. Jadi taklah buruk. Dan sebahagian, mungkin 2 daripada 8 itu atau 1.5 of the 8 demands are already met. Yang lain itu belum lagi. Dulu argumennya adalah ini illegal, tapi sekarang dah tak boleh sebab sudah ada Peace Assembly Act. Tapi ada juga yang masih not at peace with himself or herself, masih kata illegal. Ini memang betul-betul not at peace with himself or herself. It's clear that it is not an issue, tapi masih diulang-ulang. Kalau dulu argumennya ialah stop BERSIH rally, tapi sekarang ada yang kata postpone. So kalau postpone maknanya it's not so bad lah. Kalau dulu kata BERSIH kalau buat rally is bad for the economy. Dan sekarang dia pun bagi a new point to the economy. It's bad for the ringgit. Tapi ada menteri kata, kalau ringgit turun, okey apa? Tourism. Now the point I'm trying to say is, there is no real argumentation that can hold water in as far as going against BERSIH 4. Sebab itu pada saya BERSIH 4 adalah sebahagian daripada demokrasi. Kecuali unless some people have a different meaning of democracy. Now to me democracy has a very simple meaning. It's government of the people, for the people, by the people. Unless of course some people may think that it is government of OFF, the people, force the people, and if you got money, buy the people. And that's another story altogether. Saya rasa BERSIH 4 adalah sebahagian daripada proses menjadikan demokrasi kita lebih matang dan lebih progresif. Dan ia harus disokong oleh semua, termasuk parti-parti politik dan termasuk UMNO dan Barisan Nasional. UMNO perlu menjadi parti politik yang lebih kompetitif. Kerana PRU yang akan datang akan lebih kompleks. UMNO tidak boleh lagi pergi ke PRU 14 dengan paradigma yang lama, with the old paradigm, craving on developmental hopes. Tetapi mesti pergi dengan perjuangan yang ditambah. There's nothing wrong about development, tetapi mesti ditambah dengan new kind of hopes, new kind of discourse. The discourse which I refer to normally as democratic hopes. Dan pada saya, kita harus menyokong BERSIH 4 dengan pelbagai cara. Ada yang mungkin turun, ada yang mungkin dengan cara-cara yang lain. Di KL, di Kuching, di KK dan di kawasan-kawasan di luar Malaysia. Bagaimana pula dengan tindakan di Parlimen, di Dewan Rakyat? Apakah boleh menggulingkan kerajaan secara undi tak percaya? Pertamanya, menggulingkan kerajaan bukan di luar demokrasi. Yang tak boleh itu ialah merosakkan negara. Some people are confused between government and the state and the country. Dan tindakan dalam parlimen itu tentunya tidak detrimental to parliamentary democracy. We are all aware of Section 124 of the Penal Code about detrimental to parliamentary democracy, but Section 130 of the same law says that define what is detrimental as if it is violent and through unconstitutional means. Now, kalau berlaku undi tak percaya dalam Dewan Rakyat, itu lebih baik daripada Perak. Adakah BERSIH 4 dan tindakan Dewan Rakyat akan berjaya? Hanya masa akan menentukan. Ada orang meramalkan BERSIH 4 takkan seramai yang sebelum PRU 13. Itu boleh dijangka kerana wave-nya sedikit berbeza. Tetapi kejayaan BERSIH 4 pada saya, I'm not trying to preempt, pada saya bukan sangat pada 29 dan 30. Dari segi kutipan wangnya yang 1.5 juta itu sudah satu kejayaan luar biasa. Lebih-lebih lagi kalau kita kenal siapa-siapakah mereka yang mendermakan wang itu. Mario can tell you they come from among people whom we would never expect to donate for BERSIH 4. And for Proham, ni ada Setiausaha Agung Proham, Datuk Denison Jayasuriya mengumumkan mereka akan turun sebagai monitor. Itu juga satu kejayaan yang besar. What was the last number in BERSIH? No, in terms of, now it's 1.9 million. Wow. Hey, you are increasing as fast as our ringgit is shrinking. No, in terms of number of people attending, the last one was... Yeah? No, the last one was like what, 200,000?
BERSIH 300,000, right? I mean, some estimates say more than that, but
pada saya,
yeah.
Kalau tak sampai nombor itu bukan suatu kegagalan. Yeah. As long as there will be a substantial number of people, itu pada saya adalah suatu kemenangan moral yang besar. Jadi saya ingat cukup dululah buat sementara waktu. Dan saya sekali lagi ucapkan berbanyak terima kasih.
Terima kasih Datuk. Banyak poin yang dihujahkan oleh Datuk Saifuddin, saya rasa saya tak perlu ulang. Tapi antara istilah yang saya rasa menarik disebut oleh Datuk seorang je itu trust deficit. Ya. Seorang menteri pun menyebut pakai istilah trust deficit. Defisit kepercayaan terhadap kepimpinan negara. Ya. Tokoh nombor satu kita. Dan di penghujung tadi Datuk menjelaskan bahawa bukan soal jumlah peserta yang turun, tetapi semangat dan siapa yang terlibat dan jumlah sokongan dan sumbangan yang kita semua tahu berkaitan dengan kegelisahan yang disebut oleh bekas timbalan pengarah special brand itu. Ya. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, saya persilakan Malaysian Abdullah untuk menjelaskan hal. Saya ingat tentunya dia akan bercakap tentang bersih lebih banyak selain daripada isu parlimen. Barangkali Datuk Kadir nanti boleh sentuh lebih mendalam tentang hal parlimen. Silakan Maria.
Terima kasih dan salam sejahtera kepada semua. I think that the topic itself, street protest or Dewan Rakyat, they are both interlinked, and I do agree with that. And they are interlinked because I see them as within the framework of a democracy. You cannot be making decisions without the participation of people, and you can participate in many ways. Either you become an elected member, or you actually participate as a voter or as Malaysians. Now, I think that a lot of people have actually asked, why is it that BERSIH take on street demonstration, and why are we even concerned about 1 MDB? The 1 MDB actually came to our attention simply because of the money that has gone into a personal account, and of course it's Najib's account, where some parts of that money, if not all, have been used possibly, that's the allegation, on the general election that has just gone by. And as an election watchdog, of course, we take a keen interest in that. But it is not just because of this money. It is also, we actually feel that this relates to a much bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we have a failed political system that actually does not seems to be able to solve some of these pertinent questions of corruption, of integrity, leaders' integrity, of accountability and of transparency. And for BERSIH, we feel that, in order for us to actually forward our mandate to ask for clean and fair elections, we have to actually make sure that the other system that actually determine how a clean and fair election comes about must also be reformed, if not changed. So that's why if you look at our demands, they are all connected. In the sense that if we do not have an accountable or clean government, if we do not even have the right to actually speak out, and every time we speak out, we are actually thrown with 124B, if not the SOSMA, if not the Sedition Act and so forth, then we will not be able to actually say that we want clean and fair elections. And if we were to actually look at the BERSIH's demand, we are actually asking for institutional change as well. Because if we do not have this kind of reform will actually bring back the confidence in our economy, which is ailing at the present moment. So I think that, we are definitely not out of our mandate. We are still within our mandate and within this commitment towards a more democratic processes. That's what BERSIH is all about. And if leaders who are supposed to fulfill these reforms do not do what they are supposed to do, then for me, I think it's about time you step aside and allow people who actually believe in more democratic processes to actually do the job. So if you say that, by demanding that the Prime Minister resign means top, then it's actually not quite the picture that we want. In any kind of parliamentary democracy, if you go to the ballot box, you are actually talking about a change. Yeah, a change that actually can bring in a new government, if not, bring in back the existing government. But that is determined by the will of the people and how they vote on that day. And so if you say that, by asking Najib to actually resign is toppling the government, then it's not. We are still working within the parliamentary democracy. To ask for a change is not about change, it's not about, the whole toppling this government. The other thing is that why we actually took to the street is really, it has actually come to a stage where our economy and our political system has gone over the edge. And they have actually crossed the boundaries. Our leaders have actually crossed the boundaries in not securing the integrity that we expect from them, in not securing the transparency, the accountability that we expect them when we voted them in. And so, BERSIH 4 is really a collective voice of the people to actually say that, for 58 years of independence, it is now time that we actually take a position on what we want this country to be. If we are talking about parliamentary democracy, then we want to institute reforms. Reforms that will actually bring about a much better government, a much better anti-corruption investigation, a much better integrity within our leaders. And actually in our proposal, we are actually saying that within 12 to 18 months, can we have these institutions brought forward and for fresh elections to actually happen. And that is only when we have a fresh elections and with the institutional reform, can we be assured that, the playing field is being leveled and we are able to elect the leaders that we want to run this country. And so therefore, I think that, when people actually come forward, and of course the support that we actually get from the people has been overwhelming. I've been on road shows and the turnout has been very, very encouraging. But on top of that, the money that came in, within less than a month, we actually hit almost 2 million. That in itself shows that people want change. And people are supporting the demands of BERSIH. And so, therefore, I think that it's about time that leaders actually start listening and knowing that, there are other people, the people that voted them in, that these people are actually not trying to overthrow you, but actually trying to help the government to make this nation a much better one. So, if the election comes, we will be able to tell the government that, these are the kind of people that we want. We will be able to elect the kind of people that we want and to actually demand that they actually do their work and institute the reforms that we want. If all of us were to actually collectively, 28 million of us or 30 million population in Malaysia were to actually go to Kuala Lumpur, I think that we will bring a big message to the government. And so maybe I'm really hoping that every one of you who are attending here will also make that decision to join us on 29th and 30th. We are still on the 5 spots that we have been proposing, and it will still be within the vicinity of Dataran Merdeka. So thank you very much.
Terima kasih Maria. Maria barangkali lupa nak jemput 3 lagi ahli panel untuk turun sekali sama bersih pada, kalau tak hari Sabtu, hari Ahad. Saya tolong jemput bagi pihak Maria. Dia sudah jelaskan bahawa tidak lari di matlamat bersih, walaupun beberapa perhimpunan dan kewujudan bersih sebelum ini sejak 2007, walaupun tak namakan bersih 2.0, ke arah reformasi sistem pilihan raya, tetapi mendesak proses ruang demokrasi yang lebih luas. Itu sebahagian daripada tuntutan demokrasi sesuai dengan kepentingan matlamat bersih. Kalau misalnya sistem demokrasi kita tidak ada level playing field dalam sistem pilihan raya, dalam sistem media misalnya, ya, kebebasan bersuara, maka usaha untuk mengadakan pilihan raya yang adil juga tidak akan mungkin berlaku, kerana satu sistem tidak berdiri secara terpisah-pisah. Dia satu sistem yang organik, yang komprehensif. Tanpa melengahkan masa, giliran ahli panel kita yang keempat, Datuk A. Kadir Jasin, satu tokoh yang tidak asing lagi, yang pandangannya sering disampaikan melalui blog, bukan baru, bertahun-tahun. Dulu dianggap kritikal kepada kepimpinan Tun Abdullah Badawi, dan sekarang ini Datuk Sri Najib. Jadi saya lampau melengahkan masa, Tok. Silakan Datuk A. Kadir Jasin.
Assalamualaikum. Selamat petang. Terima kasih Saudara Parti, Saudari Maria, Saudara Datuk Saifuddin, Saudara Gan, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian. Sebenarnya Saudara Parti tidak berlaku adil terhadap saya. Sepatutnya beliau memberi peluang untuk orang tua dulu bercakap. Kita tak tahu bila-bila masa orang tua boleh drop dead. But Alhamdulillah, I've survived the 3 speakers and I survived party. Well, perhaps that's a good sign that there's still role for old people. Tapi saya terpaksa berhati-hati malam ni, jadi saya tidak akan mengatakan apa-apa yang kontroversial. Sebab saya takut begini, kalau selepas ini ada menteri yang membuat tuduhan mengatakan ada orang tua berkomplot di Malaysiakini, ada orang tua berkomplot, berkonspirasi menjatuhkan kerajaan di Malaysiakini, orang tua itu ahli panel saya lah yang paling tua sekali. Jadi tolonglah selamatkan diri saya. Jadi saya pun bukanlah orang tua yang dimaksudkan itu. Sampai hari ini kita masih mencari-cari orang tua misteri itu. Dan saya rasa kita tidak akan menemuinya, kerana mereka pun sedar sebenarnya usia politik mereka pun sudah agak tua. Kita nak bercakap tentang protes rakyat atau Dewan Rakyat atau satu lagi pilihan raya. Dianya inklusif, bukan eksklusif. Ini inklusif sangat penting. Dalam bahasa Melayu dipanggil keterangkuman. Inclusiveness adalah mantra Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak. Beliau melalui model baru ekonomi menjadikan inclusiveness, keterangkuman. Hebat bahasa dia. Keterangkuman belum diterima oleh Dewan Bahasa sebagai perkataan yang boleh digunakan. Kalau kita menaipnya menggunakan spell checker, dia keluar merah. Begitulah hebatnya Perdana Menteri kita. Jadi bagaimana kita hendak menjatuhkan seorang Perdana Menteri yang begitu hebat? We must be mad. But for some reason or the other, we are really very, very mad. And I was told the Prime Minister is very, very happy because his one Malaysia has eventually materialized. All Malaysians are united that he is not a good Prime Minister. I'm saying this with some measure of sadness, some measure of guilt, because I've known this person much earlier than you. Much earlier than most people here. I've known this young man in 1977 when he was 21 years old, 22 years old, and 1 year as the ahli yang berhormat, ahli parlimen Pekan. Right? This is a man. This is a man that I'm not very happy about. The man that I'm very happy if he decides to take a long leave. Right? So, but whereas the three elements, ketiga-tiga unsur iaitu protes rakyat, Dewan Rakyat dan pilihan raya adalah saling kait mengait, tidak boleh dipisahkan. Saya melihat bahawa kalau tujuan kita mengharapkan bersih hari Sabtu dan Ahad ini menjatuhkan Najib Tun Razak, ia tidak akan berlaku. Ia tidak akan berlaku. Tunjuk perasaan, protes jalanan tidak akan mengubah Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak. Beliau tidak akan berhenti semata-mata kerana kita berpanas, berjemur, berpeluh, menunjuk perasaan. Dia tak akan berhenti. Sebab kalau beliau nak berhenti, beliau sudah pun berhenti. Tidak ada Perdana Menteri dalam sejarah Malaysia yang dihina sedemikian rupa, tetapi masih bekal berkuasa. It's just impossible. The answer is really simple. He is a very exclusive Prime Minister. He may have told you that he is an inclusive Prime Minister and he's a moderate Prime Minister. He is not. Actually, deep inside him, di dalam hati kecilnya, beliau seorang yang sangat eksklusif. Eksklusif kepada kelompoknya. Nasib baiklah saudara kita sudah kalah pilihan raya. Kalau beliau tidak kalah pilihan raya pada 2003, mungkin beliau juga sudah pun di-co-op ke dalam inklusif kelab Perdana Menteri kita. Syukur alhamdulillah. Kekalahan rupa-rupanya ada erti yang besar. So kita mau lebih ramai wakil rakyat yang hari ini timbalan menteri dan menteri kalah dan peraya akan datang. Supaya mereka juga boleh duduk di atas pentas ini dan berbincang dengan kita. Mengapa ia berlaku begitu? Sebab kita semua sini duduk, macam saya kata Tan Sri tadi, duduk di sini sebagai manusia yang bijaksana. Kita duduk di sini sebagai manusia berpegang kepada convention. Kita duduk di sini sebagai rakyat Malaysia, sebagai insan manusia berpegang kepada kebijaksanaan, kewarasan dan amalan biasa, convention. Convention berkata, apabila anda tidak lagi dipercayai, anda dikutuk, anda dimaki, anda dicaci, anda diseca, conventional wisdom mengatakan anda mengundurkan dirilah. Tetapi itu tidak berlaku. Kebijaksanaan mengatakan kalau ekonomi sudah merudum, maka ada sesuatu yang tidak betul dengan saya. Saya undur dirilah. Tunku Abdul Rahman mengundurkan diri apabila berlaku 13 Mei. Tapi kita berdepan dengan seorang Perdana Menteri, seorang insan yang unconventional. Ya, di mana conventional wisdom tidak mempunyai tempat bagi beliau. Ya, di dalam majlis beliau sendiri, beliau menuduh orang-orang yang menolong beliau, yang sepatutnya menolong beliau sebagai bangang. Alhamdulillah, istilah bangang kembali menjadi mainstream. Ya, sekarang istilah bangsat kembali menjadi mainstream. Jadi adalah juga kebaikan Perdana Menteri kita, iaitu beliau memperkayakan khazanah bahasa. Saya, kalau Datuk kita kembali berkuasa, lantiklah saya jadi pengurusi Dewan Bahasa. Saya akan sahkan semua perkataan-perkataan ini sebagai perkataan baru dalam bahasa Melayu. So we are facing a situation where the Prime Minister doesn't need all of us. He doesn't need the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, perhaps 100,000 people attending bersih protest, bersih gathering next this coming Saturday and Sunday. He doesn't need us. So therefore, in conclusion, I think neither the protest rakyat nor the Dewan Rakyat will be able to unseat him. Right? If he is so confident, as he has been showing everybody, telling us, there is no need for a no confidence vote. There should be a confidence vote. The Barisan Nasional should propose in Parliament that we now go for a confidence vote for the Prime Minister. That should be the case. Right? So, saya berasa bahawa melihat kepada apa yang berlaku 5-6 bulan atau lebih panjang sikit dari itu hingga hari ini, tidak ada kemungkinan Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak akan berundur. Beliau akan kekal menjadi Perdana Menteri sehinggalah tahulah mungkin pilihan raya 2017-2018. Sebab saya rasa beliau tahu kalau beliau pergi sekarang banyak masalah akan menimpa beliau. Jadi kuasa hantar sedikit sekalipun, kuasa hantar dibenci sekalipun adalah lebih berguna daripada tidak ada kuasa. Saya berhenti di sini dulu. Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih banyak Datuk. Datuk Kadir beritahu saya, dia janji malam ni jangan bimbang. Dia akan cakap selagi mana kita berminat untuk berbahas dan bertanya soal ni. Jadi jelas jawapan Datuk tadi, neither protest nor vote of confidence will unseat Najib. Dan malah dia akan kekal kerana masalah yang dihadapinya. Jadi okey, kalau ada orang pihak-pihak lain ataupun peserta bersih pada hujung minggu ni membuktikan bahawa kenyataan Datuk Kadir tadi salah, iaitu protes rakyat ataupun Dewan Rakyat boleh menggugat kedudukan Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak. Jadi sebelum saya buka sesi soal jawab, banyak ni ramai ni sampai tak penuh, tak ada ruang ya. Ini satu sambutan yang luar biasa menarik. Kita juga menyiarkan secara langsung rakaman soalan langsung perbincangan kita daripada awal sampai sekarang ya. Malah ada ditunjukkan di sini di laman web kita. Dan bagi mereka yang tidak sempat, ada rakaman penuh tanpa suntingan siri perbincangan ini yang lepas-lepas dan juga yang termasuk yang ini. Jadi boleh tweet, boleh Facebook. Bagi yang tak sempat, ada hal, boleh mengikuti perbincangan ini yang sangat menarik, yang menjadi persoalan semua orang. Jadi kalau dua pilihan itu kelihatannya menjadi tanda tanya, pilihan raya pun barangkali dengan keadaan persepadanan semula yang tak selesai menjadi tanya, kita kena terus bertanya dan terus bertanya apakah cara-cara yang dapat meredakan, menyelesaikan, merungkaikan masalah yang berkaitan politik dan ekonomi susulan daripada skandal IMDb dan juga reputasi ataupun kredibiliti Datuk Seri Najib yang dipertikaikan secara meluas. Sehingga disebut Datuk Kadir tadi, satu Malaysia menolak ataupun mempertikaikan Datuk Seri Najib. Ya, tanpa, jadi saya boleh buka soalan, saya rasa saya ambil 3 dulu soalan, tapi tolong ringkaskan. Jadi lebih banyak perbincangan, lebih banyak soalan dapat kita kemukakan kepada ahli-ahli panel, lebih baik. Ya. Kalau ada pandangan, cuba ringkaskan. Mic ada di di ruangan sini. Kalau belah sini pun boleh ambil mic di atas, tak ada masalah. Kita sembang secara santai aja, ya, sembang santai. Silakan. Ada siapa nak tanya tu? Jangan malu-malu, kita ni kadang-kadang awal-awal ni malu nak tanya, nanti kan banyak soalan. Silakan. Silakan. Be concise, your questions.
Hello. Yes, my name is Eng. I would like to ask Mr. Gan and Datuk Saifuddin that the problem we have here is not the law, but the implementation, selective enforcement. Because you say we have Peaceful Assembly Act, but last night in the Parliament House when the student was there just to show their view without any violence or anything, they were arrested. And they were detained for 3 days under Section 124B. So there's no violence. When the law was tabled in Parliament, Nazri actually confirmed that it is only applicable to those that has the element of violence and unconstitutional act. So why were they being detained? And secondly, Mr. Gan, when you said we can do referendum and all, I think the support is not the problem. The problem is our electoral process, gerrymandering. Because our last election already shown that Pakatan has 51% of popular votes. So the support is already there, but the system, that is the problem. So what is your view on that? Thanks.
Kepada Mr. Gan dan seorang lagi. Gan saja ya tadi ya? Ya, okey. Dan Saifuddin ya, soalan pertama. Kita ambil soalan pertama dulu, kita silakan sebab ya. Nak ambil soalan dulu. Okey, silakan. Sebab ahli panel yang minta. Okey. Ringkas ya, padat macam brother kita tadi.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okey, soalannya mudah. Sekarang kita mengalami dilema tentang pemerintahan Najib. Tapi kita ada satu lagi dilema. Jika Najib turun, siapa yang akan ganti beliau? Okey. Itulah soalan dia, tak perlu dipanjangkan lagi.
Dituju kepada siapa tu?
Dituju kepada Datuk Abdullah Kadir Jasin.
Okey. Silakan Datuk, soalan tadi. Iaitu masalah selective solution ya.
Okey, terima kasih banyak atas soalan tadi. Saya tak pasti saya boleh jawab dengan baik sebab CGPA saya bukan 3.85. Sebab you tanya pasal student. Selective persecution is a valid argumentation, and more so when it comes to students. Yeah. Unfortunately, Malaysian students probably face more problems than most of us here who are no longer students. Because not only that they are subjected to the same laws that we are subjected to, Sedition Act, Penal Code and what have you. Mind you, after Jinjang and after whatever, they may even face another law which is the UCA, the University and University College Act. So double jeopardy in the real sense of the word. Ya, mula-mula dia dikenakan mungkin charge dan sebagainya, kita kena tunggu sebab dia dapat reman, dia direman selama 3 hari, dan selepas itu ada kemungkinan juga yang mereka akan dikenakan hukuman di bawah Akta Universiti dan College University. Saya tak reti nak kata apa lagi melainkan ini adalah proses yang benar-benar membuta tuli. It's a real blatant misuse of power. It's not about the law, it's about misuse of power. So itulah masalahnya, it's misuse of power. Dia berada dalam control mode yang akan buat apa saja untuk menghalang orang daripada bersuara. They will do anything at all to oppress and to suppress and to curtail, to ban if possible, to make illegal whatever that is legal, and so on and so forth. So this is why I said there is no moral compass, because this is not always about law, it is really about moral. Do you want to uphold the principles of democracy, or do you not want to uphold the principles of democracy? Pada saya, undang-undang itu adalah parameter semata-mata. Sekadar untuk mengelakkan daripada berlaku kekecohan, sekadar in this context, sekadar mengelakkan daripada berlaku keganasan, itu saja. And the students were there peacefully. Apa yang nak jealousnya? Kalau nak rasa, pergi join sekali. panas, hujan dan sebagainya. So yeah, to me, and this is the funny part of it. And now I go back to my first point at the outset of this forum. Katanya bersimpat is nothing. Ya, katanya bersimpat ni is harmless. Katanya bersimpat ni tak dapat sambutan. Dah kalau macam tu, apa masalahnya? Biar je lah, kan? Tapi itulah, bila takut dengan bayang-bayang ni, dia jadi macam itu. Thank you.
Terima kasih Wati. I would just want to add on what Datuk Saifuddin mentioned about this selective persecution, and of course, all form of selective enforcement is a form of persecution to me. And we have also witnessed recently, you even have universities, academicians, professors, or vice chancellors, and haramkan pelajar untuk menyeteri bersih. I think this is one of the kind of old mentality. Some of the, probably not someone of Datuk Kadir's standard, still hold on to the old way conservative of life. They do not see the world has moved on. Our society has moved on, our nations has moved on, and we know how to behave ourselves in a peaceful march or peaceful assembly. And then by giving this sort of tactics to scare the youngsters not to be participating, probably not even scaring the youngsters. I don't believe the university students will be so much worried about all these scare tactics. It probably is the parents. If the parents are worried, when we give a little bit of pressure to their children, and I'll call upon, senior members of society, parents, let your children do what they want, as long as it's within the ambit of the law. And whether a gathering, an assembly is within or without the law, is not for the universities, professors or vice chancellors to announce. And I think we know where the law lies. Okay, coming back to the questions of referendum, I think perhaps I should make it clearer. When I say referendum, it's not that we are holding a referendum now. That's not what I meant. What I said is this BERSIH, this huge scale, expected huge scale of peaceful assembly will be a loud voice, and it could be seen, could be perceived and seen as a referendum over Najib's leadership. And that, I think that's what I meant. But when it comes back to the Dewan Rakyat, Datuk Kadir was a bit pessimistic about a vote of confidence is not going to carry. That is political reality. It's not going to be easy. But I think there is a necessity, especially from the Pakatan's members of parliament, must push for a vote of no confidence. Then you will know who are the MPs still wants to defend the indefensible. Still want to defend what cannot be defended anymore. That's how I look at it. But unfortunately, friends, what I've seen, a couple of some of the Pakatans or the opposition's members of parliament openly say that they would only agreeable to a vote of no confidence provided after the change of government, they must be in power, sharing the power. And it's conditional. To me, the hidden message of that is what? Might as well because they are laying down conditions, the BN, the MPs will not be agreeable. So, in fact, at the bottom of their heart, I begin to wonder, do they really want these governments to fall, or whatever come up? Or rather, they will sneakingly praying Najib to stay on. Wait for another 2.5 years, and then once and for all, tapau dia, bungkuskan. But that become a big puzzle for me. And I think for members of parliament, getting a mandate from the people, we have a higher duty to this nation. Bearing in mind the national interest, the crisis that we are facing now, bearing in mind that we have a higher duty to this nation's over and above of self-political interest, party political interest. And that was the reason why. And I called upon my party leaders, and I'm from MCA, most of you probably know, that my top two leaders, you must put up a stand. You can't be keeping silent all the time. It's a deafening silence, that's what I said. That I find it very disturbing,
At least you put your stand. You want to defend PM, lay down your reasons, and let's see people to judge for themselves, to assess for themselves. And that is something that we're talking about, open, open democracy that we must promote and advocate. Let people make their decision, but by telling you what are your stance. And that is something is patently lacking in our society. Even Pakatan, I find it very disturbing, as in the conditional votes of no confidence. Coming to the second questions about 51% of popular vote. Okay, that again is something I think that Maria BERSIH too has been advocating to try to. Granted, there's no doubt. I think our biggest number of constituency is probably 8 to 10 times bigger than the smallest one. And mind you, I'm not trying to justify this, I think this is wrong. Mind you, there are two issues on this. One, even UK, the biggest constituency is 5 times more than the smallest constituency because of geographical reasons. Having said that, if we are saying that this big constituency of 100,000 of voters and the other one, Putrajaya, despite there are 80,000 people living around here, but only 10,000 registered voters here, and or 8 to 10,000, it's 10 times bigger, it's wrong, fine. But what do we see? Because of political interest, I read what Lim Kee Siang was saying. He said, we must respect the Malaysians' agreement, which I do not disagree. But what he said is, we must have at least 1/3 of the constituency to be alienated for Sabah and Sarawak. So by alienating 1/3 of the parliament seats in Sabah and Sarawak, we are going to make the gap even wider. So we've got to be very consistent about our principle. And the value must be very clear. If we want to bring it down, to make it closer, most 1 to 3, 1 to 5 depends on the geographical area. Mind you, I think Tengku Razali's area in Guamusam, from one end to the other, Kampung Orang Asli, will take him 3 hours despite his despite his age. It's very tough for him. Sarawak Sabah probably will face the same problem, and as compared to Seputeh, the high density area. So these are the things that we must address, and I do agree that BERSIH is doing quite a fair bit of this, and that really call for everybody's support. Thank you.
Soal seterusnya untuk Datuk Kadir tadi, siapa? Dilema sepengganti.
Ya, dilema pengganti Perdana Menteri. Sebab orang muda kita tadi betul-betul berpendapat tidak ada lagi pemimpin yang boleh dipercayai. Well, kalau kita percaya bahawa ini adalah yang terburuk, maksudnya siapa yang selepas ini tidak lebih buruk dari itu. So it is worth taking a risk. So tidak ada dilema di situ. Saya rasa sesiapa pun yang menjadi Perdana Menteri selepas ini, Tengku Razali ke, Mahyudin Yassin ke, Ahmad Zahid Hamidi ke, saya rasa mereka lebih baik daripada situasi hari ini. Takkan selepas melihat apa yang berlaku, apa yang diperkatakan, apa yang dikatakan, apa yang dilabelkan kepada Perdana Menteri sekarang, mereka masih berani mengulanginya. Melainkan semua mereka adalah orang gila, orang tidak siuman, orang gila isin, gila and insane. So saya rasa selepas ini there will never be a prime minister who is going to treat us the way that the current prime minister is treating us. I think so. And we are the people. I was there. Part of the problem could be blamed to me, right? I was the government propaganda for a long time. I acknowledge that. But I'm capable of changing. I'm changing now. I'm trying to change. So help me change. By you being a bigger agent of change. This is not for me anymore. I'm very old already. It's for the future generation. So I don't think a future prime minister, whoever he is, can be. Well, I will not say the word lah. So I think have some faith. We are the one that spoil the prime ministers. We are the one that spoil the ministers. We elected our wakil rakyat, right? The night he won, we went around the kampung looking for the tallest chair. We put her in the tall chair and called his wife to sit by his side. So when the wife naik tocang, kita marah. So next time when you vote, you tell your wakil rakyat, you tell your prime minister, we are voting you, we are not voting your wife. I've been saying this millions of times, to the point that I challenge, if you think your wife is so good, let her contest the election, let her become the prime minister, and I will criticize her as a prime minister, not as your wife. So I think we are the people, kita lah yang buat salah ni. Jadi oleh kerana kita yang buat salah, therefore it is incumbent upon us to make amend our mistake. So thank you very much.
Silakan. Dua orang aja. Nanti abang kita yang baju biru ya.
Selamat petang tuan-tuan dan puan-puannya. Saya Lai dari Bandar Sunway. Soalan saya ingin tuju kepada Datuk Kadir Jasin. Sebab tua dengan tua senang sikitlah. Soalan saya ringkas saja. Sebelum saya jawab, saya muntahkan soalan saya nak beri sedikit pendapat saya. Saya amat tidak setuju dengan Datuk yang tadi mengatakan BERSIH tidak dapat memaksa Najib undur diri. Saya rasa jika bilangan yang cukup beramai-ramai kita ke jalan raya, saya ingin jika bilangan yang lebih ramai memang dia boleh diundur. Lagi tadi speaker lain ada kata, panelis ada kata, kita sebagai rakyat balik ke kawasan kita, convince ahli parlimen kita, adun kita supaya mereka beramai-ramai sokong BERSIH. Begitulah Najib akan diundur. Jadi soalan saya ialah, saya amat pelik sekali sebab saya ini dari masyarakat Cina. Saya tidak tahu masyarakat Melayu. Nampaknya masyarakat Melayu masih lagi ramai sokong UMNO BN. Cina tak adalah. MCA, sorry Ganting Sieu ya MCA. Saya dah tak sokong Ganting Sieu dah. Mampus dah, terus kata mampus MCA. Saya Cina, mampus MCA. Jadi soalan saya ialah, adakah benarkah masyarakat Melayu kalau UMNO kehilangan kuasa, mereka akan dimenbangsatkan? Terima kasih.
Selamat malam, nama saya Atau. Tadi itu saya gembira dengar Datuk Kadir Jasin kata yang dia pun nak berubah selepas dekat-dekat 40 tahun, 50 tahun yang serba pro-government. Tetapi saya tak bersetuju dengan apa Datuk yang cerita kata sesiapa tokoh-tokoh yang akan ambil alih jika Najib turun takhta, yang mereka tu lebih baik. Saya fikir begitu kerana titik permulaan keruntuhan kerajaan, tata kerajaan, tata susila kerajaan di Malaysia bermula daripada mentor Datuk sendiri, iaitu Datuk Atun Dr. Mahathir. Mulai dengan tu Dr. Mahathir, dia merosakkan kerajaan, tak tahu sama ada sesuai tak sesuai, sedap tak sedap, cakap begini, tetapi benda yang sama diikuti oleh Datuk Seri Najib. So jika benda ni berlarutan, saya khawatir, saya tak setuju, saya tak confident, tak yakin sama sekali yang tokoh-tokoh yang Datuk sebut tadi akan bertindak lebih baik daripada yang pada kini. Pasal itu saya kadang-kadang walaupun tak berapa setuju dengan pihak pembangkang, tetapi saya masih consider pemikiran mereka kata
orang dalam kerajaan sekarang tak kira siapa. Mungkin Najib yang paling teruk, tetapi yang lain-lain pun jika tak setuk Najib tak sebaik seberapa. Itu juga saya punya pendapat. Terima kasih.
Silakan ada soalan sesi untuk kedua ni kita tutup dengan penanya yang ketiga. Nanti Tan Sri, nanti kita buka lagi.
Assalamualaikum. Saya rasa nak kasih soalan pada Datuk lah. Satu correction yang saya nak buat adalah Datuk kata tadi kita buat silap.
Datuk mana ni? Ada dua Datuk.
Datuk Kadir. Datuk Kadir kata kita buat silap. Saya tak rasa kita. Mungkin Datuk sajalah. Soalannya adalah 50 lebih tahun UMNO ni jadi penyatuan orang Melayu. Itu kita tak boleh nafi. Walaupun ada sebahagian orang Melayu yang tak bersama UMNO, tetapi tidak dinafikan bahawa UMNO parti paling besar orang Melayu. Dan ini jalan yang ditunjukkan oleh Datuk On tubuhkan UMNO. Soalan saya, adakah sudah sampai masa orang Melayu meninggalkan UMNO walaupun akan ada kekal dalam UMNO? Kita tak kata semuanya akan habis. Adakah sampai masa jalan yang kedua yang pernah ditunjukkan oleh Datuk On, iaitu multi-racial party, tetapi ada sokongan kuat orang Melayu untuk membuat perubahan ini? Jadi itu soalan saya. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak. Tan Sri, silakan Tan Sri. Tadi dah last, ini last betul lah ni. Kita ada banyak lagi masa, jangan risau. Silakan Tan Sri.
Terima kasih ya. Member of panelists, soalan saya tidak cumanya suggestion untuk bersih 4. I've written on 2 articles to request and appeal to Malaysiakini to give us some guideline. I think majority of us sokong what you're doing. You're on the right track. But I'm wondering, plus a couple of my good friends, why do you need to do in Dataran Merdeka? If we have so many ways to do it, why can't we have some other area to do it? Sebab I'm coming from the point of, I just came back from overseas. I mean, the remarks they said, what's wrong with your Malaysia? Banyak kacau, kecoh, semua ada. We need to air out the actual message of the riot, at the same time taking into consideration to maintain Malaysia still a beautiful country. Therefore, I boleh suggest lah, bolehkah Ms. Malaysiakini, you try to find a place like Bukit Jalil, you can even berkumpul by hundreds of thousands. Your one voice carry out by multiply by 100,000 is more effective rather than to go through the street marching. If you go through the street marching, if I were to be a kedai owner there, I say, apa dah Malaysiakini, kacau lah segala macam, menganggap pun tak ada ini hari. So that in the area you have to look into. So, if I may, a message to put across, the moment your message is real good, you do it, amplify it in a better way. Definitely you go to a stadium, 100,000 will listen to you. Please reconsider, don't create difficulty for the people who are earning a living along the livelihood. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Terima kasih Tan Sri. Saya ulang sedikit ya. Ini banyak soalan 3 yang pertama ni ditujukan kepada Datuk A Kadir Jasin. Tapi saya rasa teman-teman ahli panel lain pun boleh mengulas ini. Saya ulang sekali ya, secara ringkas ya. Soalan pertama, dia tak percaya pertanggapan Datuk Abdullah awal tadi, iaitu Bersih tak dapat mengundurkan Datuk Seri Najib. Kalau kita cukup pressure, boleh jadi katanya. Soalan kedua juga kepada Datuk Kadir Jasin. Soal apakah Melayu ya masih setia dengan UMNO? Lebih kurang dengan soalan ketiga tadi, patutkah ataupun wajarkah kita meninggalkan UMNO, kembali kepada ilham Datuk On dulu, iaitu multi-racial party. Jadi Tan Sri Robert tadi, iaitu untuk Maria dan Bersih, iaitu kenapa pilih street, tidak di lokasi-lokasi yang lebih sesuai, misalnya stadium katanya. Jadi Datuk, silakan.
berkenaan dengan bersih, saya mengatakan bersih tidak boleh. Struktur bersih, kaedah bersih tidak akan menjatuhkan Muhammad Najib. Tetapi mungkin apa yang bersih lakukan boleh mempengaruhi ahli-ahli Dewan Rakyat, boleh menyebabkan masyarakat, boleh menyebabkan di pilihan raya, boleh menyebabkan pengundi menolak Barisan Nasional, maka bersih boleh melakukan tugas itu. Kalau apa yang dilakukan bersih tidak menyentuh hati kecil, does not affect the conscience, the sentiment of the members of the Dewan Rakyat, there will not be a removal of Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak. Soalan kedua berkenaan dengan orang Cina sudah hilang, orang Cina sudah berubah, tidak lagi percaya kepada MCA. Maaf jugalah saudara, ya. I think people who are still living, still staying in MCA are very brave people, and it has to be recognized for his principle that he does not choose to be in a popular party. I think this is also, what if all of us choose to be member of the most popular party, then there will be only one party, like in China. So no, we have to, one day maybe his party will become the strongest political party in the country. So that's why we need we need to maintain our multi-party system. Don't condemn the MCA or whoever that you don't like. Well, this is his politics. We don't want the Chinese to be represented only by one party, and the Malays are represented only by Haji Hadi. You want that? Do you want that? You don't want. So I think let us respect the right of every political party to survive and to serve the people. And on my sins of the past, I'm repenting. Please, I'm saying, oh Lord, please forgive my sins. Please also forgive my other sins. Why? Because today, people come to me and ask, what is Tun's next move? What is Tun's next move? What is he going to do? Is he winning or losing? I think this is a very dangerous thing. For Malaysian to expect Tun Mahathir to create miracles, very dangerous. I mean, it's very dangerous to follow a 90-year-old man or even a 70-year-old man. Like, very dangerous. Because we may just topple over and hit you. So, it's young people, so not Tun Mahathir Mohamad. So, forgive our sin, please, huh? Brother, please, huh? Belanja me tea sometime. And we smoke the peace pipe. So, adakah Melayu boleh meninggalkan UMNO? Well, Melayu sudah mula meninggalkan UMNO, itu realiti. Tidak mustahil Pakatan Rakyat, ex-Pakatan Rakyat lah, mustahil bekas Pakatan Rakyat boleh mendapat 52% undi kalau orang Melayu tidak mengundi Pakatan Rakyat. So undi UMNO sudah pecah. Jadi adakah UMNO boleh menjadi parti pelbagai parti seperti yang pernah diidamkan oleh oleh On Jaafar? Itu satu perkara lain. On Jaafar meninggalkan UMNO untuk menubuhkan parti pelbagai kaum, dia tak berjaya. Mula-mula Parti Kemerdekaan Melaya, kemudian Parti Negara, kedua-duanya mati. Tapi saya rasa orang Melayu sudah pun mula melihat di luar kerangka politik tradisional yang berpaksikan UMNO. Terima kasih.
Datuk Saifuddin, tolong menjawab respon dulu.
Ya, saya cuma nak menambah saudara Gan Peng Sieu yang saya kenal, manusia yang ada prinsip. Sebenarnya kami berdua ada satu kesamaan. Semasa dua-dua jadi timbalan menteri, dua-dua kena censored dengan our bosses for speaking up. So yeah, okay lah. So janganlah marah sangat kat Gaping Sieu ni. Saya cuma nak sambung saja yang disebut oleh kekanda saya Datuk Kadir Jasin tentang orang Melayu dan UMNO itu. Iaitu bahawa politik di Malaysia sebenarnya semakin rabun warna. Our politics is becoming more colorblind and we should be happy and we should celebrate it. Dan bukan sahaja orang Melayu ada yang berani meninggalkan UMNO atau sudah sedia meninggalkan UMNO atau akan meninggalkan UMNO. Bahkan sudah ada orang Melayu yang bersedia telah pun mengundi calon yang dulunya dia tak fikir dia boleh undi. Parti-parti yang tak payah sebut nama lah, yang bukan Melayu, yang calonnya bukan Melayu. Sudah ramai orang Cina yang juga mengundi calon Melayu. Malangnya bukan dari UMNO. Jadi pada saya momentum itu sudah bermula dan saya fikir kita kena teruskan and make sure and ensure that Malaysian politics will be more multiracial in nature, that people vote no longer along racial line. I think that is the future of our country.
Silakan nak komen apa-apa tentang tak ada.
Ada.
Ya.
Thank you for, I think it was Mr. Lai who is expressing the common view about my party. I'm not here to do advertisement for my party, but at the rate it goes, and we have 7 members of parliament. At the rate it goes, we're probably left with 3, and that is if we are lucky. So, and I see just sometimes I always believe in this. Why people abandon you? Stop blaming the world, stop blaming the voters. You start look into ourselves, what have we failed? No? Why people give up on you? And that is something that I've been opening saying this many times and also suggested what should be done. But one thing that, as what the senior Datuk Kadir was mentioned, if we want a healthy two-party system or two-coalition system, it is important that we shouldn't advocate the view of a blind loyalty to a single political leader or a single political party. And that is very dangerous. If you see, let's say DAP, okay, you see into DAP, there's not one, then you try to cast a view that none of them inside there are genuine and sincere people. I think that's wrong. I think that's not fair. Likewise, all political parties, I believe in people's self-consciousness. But one thing is this, I put in my post the other day. You know, in our traditional society, I took the Hang Tuah and Hang Jebat as an example. You know, we believe in the traditional wisdom of setia kawan, setia kawan, semangat prinsip setia kawan, and loyalty to friends. It's good virtue, but in the open democratic society, we have bigger things. We must have a bigger picture in mind. There's good virtue, good value when fine, defending your friends, but not when your friends are no longer defensible. We should actually advise, please, for a bigger picture, for your own good, please, for your own good, for your own family heritage good, do something, or it's time for you to step down. It's time for you to step down. And even then, you are trying to protect the rest of the comrades in the big coalitions in the names of Barisan Nasional. So I think we must bear in mind of these things, that there's such concept of values of righteousness. Righteousness and duty to our nation prevail over any other duty and principle. And that is something that I would like to share with everybody. So, and just to answer about the MCA part, and I believe MCA must move out from a communal politics, and the communal issue in this nation, as far as Chinese are concerned, as far as I can imagine now, not even that much of a religion issue.
not even so much on cultural issues, if at all with Chinese school, that's all. Chinese language, the usage of Chinese language. Even then, and I don't think under Najib we have come to start closing a lot of Chinese schools. It's not that. It's there to stay. And then Najib even say that, this is our heritage. That's how our nations are built. Vernacular schools, sekolah Arab, sekolah agama, all sorts of schools, sekolah private and missionary schools or international schools. And boarding school, going overseas and all that. So they are here to stay. So giving that in mind, as far as my MC is concerned, the only communal issue I can imagine is only Chinese education. Other than that, all other issues are all national issues. And that is something that I fully agree with what Datuk Saifuddin said. It's time for race-based party to have a roadmap to open up, emphasize, look at politics no longer on race lenses or perspective. It must look at from the national interest point of view. Thank you.
Okey, terima kasih Gan. Macam pendirian misalnya MCA dalam isu hudud, dia tak mestinya bersetuju dengan UMNO ya. Silakan Maria menjawab soalan venue bersih ni.
Yeah, I think that Dataran Merdeka has always been a significant place. When we had our independence, that was actually a reflection of a national call. Yeah, that people actually come together to celebrate us as a nation being free from the colonial rule. So I think that, the demands that BERSIH is actually doing is also a national call for reform to actually happen. And we have every right to also choose the place that we want. And Dataran Merdeka has always been a significant place for us to actually come together for a national call to say that, it is time. It is time for us to actually see this nation as ready for reform. And if the leaders are not ready, then the leaders should actually step down. And if the leaders are not ready to accept that we are changing and going away from racial politics, going away from the politics of fear, then they should actually think of stepping down. So therefore, I think that Dataran Merdeka has that political significance for all Malaysians. But unfortunately now, our government has actually sold that national pride of ours to a commercial company. And so therefore, whenever we want to go to Dataran Merdeka, we are always stuck with having to ask for permission. Now, why should we ask for permission when it is our national pride?
Silakan.
No dispute, Marina. Maria, no dispute. What you say is no dispute. I'm here not because of emphasizing politics. I'm just thinking of logistic point of view. Because your voice, your message is very loud and clear. I also sokong will be very much more effective if you were to speak in a group of 100 or 200,000 people. Multiply. It's figures that you want, transmitting down. Dataran Merdeka, looking back, 31st is the Merdeka Day. Are we not be a little bit patriotic? Not to dirty the ground, to at least to show the world that we also celebrate Merdeka together. A good sign for you to consider. If you were to do it in a big stadium, I'm sure you can gather by hundreds of thousands. Times three, it carries up. That's only my suggestion, nothing else. We sokong you.
Terima kasih Tuan Sri. Silakan Denison. Dapat Denison kawan kita ya.
Salam sejahtera. Thank you very much. I think it's been quite interesting discussion so forth. I think to Tan Sri's comment just now, I think Dataran Merdeka is a good choice, and especially walking and the sort of peaceful assemblies of whether it is Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King to strategic locations can be, and Suhakam has given clear guidelines of how peaceful assemblies can be conducted. And if the police were to study Dato' Wora's report on the Bloody Sunday inquiry that gives, and also the Kesas Highway on how police can manage and enable peaceful assemblies, then it can be very democratic exercise. That's just a side comment to Tan Sri, in my view. Now, my main thought is what Dato' Kadir, not that the other speakers who are my close friends, but Dato' Kadir's concluding thoughts that both BERSIH event and Parliament will not change the scenario that people are expecting. Now, given such a scenario, we are going to see political contestation being dragged on over the next 2.5 years to the next general election. What I'm asking our senior elder on the panel and also the other on the panel, saya pun sekarang sudah semua putih already. Are we going to see further tightening of democracy? Because how do you ensure control? Position of the police, army, democratic institutions, would it tighten further? Second, would it mean there would be further distortions, like now the critical issues have been shifted to political contestation of race or even Jewish or Christian takeover of this country as the political discourse that is taking place? Or would there be some forms of reform? Now, I think what we need to look at, if BERSIH would send a message, it will get the media out. But what is the long-haul change vis-a-vis reaching out the majority Malay community, which is still largely rural-based, that will determine large portion of even the results in 2.5 years? That's one. And two, how do we make greater inroads to the Bumiputra community in Sabah and Sarawak? I can understand the sentiments of the Klang Valley. I can see that. But even changing equations at the broader level, what then is there a need to look? I'm not saying there needs to be a message sent. There needs to be strengthening of democratic processes. How then do we get this through in an effective way? If that's the theme, there is going to be 2.5 years in the process. Thank you very much.
Silakan ya. My name is Aloysius Pinto. I think it's very important what Datuk Kadir Jasin said. And based on the topic of protest riot or Dewan Rakyat, I think it's very clear Najib won't surrender. But if we focus on the 222 members of parliament, the pressure is that BERSIH should put that this event is about the last thing that you all interjected into your demands was save the economy. With the current Prime Minister, foreign funds are being pulled out. Education is more expensive overseas. Cost of living has gone up. And if the pressure is on all the MPs, including the Pakatan MPs who think that wait for 2.5 years, let Najib be there, Malaysia might not be there. It might be a failed state by then. The pressure must be on all the MPs to really accept the challenge that Dr. Mahathir has put forward, and Lim Kit Siang has gentlemanly said,
let's talk about it. Put aside all our differences. We may not have a Malaysia as we know now in 2.5 years. I choose the best if BERSIH can get the message that all the MPs you swear in the Rukun Negara, do you believe in Najib and his money? Or kepercayaan kepada Tuhan? And I believe this nation is praying very hard that this movement this weekend will spur the MPs. So come October, we can move. We can move the motion for the vote of no confidence. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Ada lagi siapa yang berhajat untuk bertanya? Saya ingat ini soalan terakhir kita dah hampir setengah jam terakhir. Ada lagi? Last? Silakan. Ini soalan terakhir kita. Ini daripada pelajar daripada Jordan ni.
Assalamualaikum. Saya Ashraf.
Assalamualaikum.
Nak tanya kepada Malaysian. Saya tengok baru-baru ni kenyataan daripada Ketua Penerangan PAS menyatakan bahawa mereka tidak dijemput untuk sertai BERSIH 4.0. Kemudian baru-baru ni kenyataan pula keluar menyatakan bahawa mereka tidak kerah ahli. Sebaliknya menghantar wakil. So minta komen sikit daripada Malaysian. Abdullah. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih banyak atas soalan-soalan yang dikemukakan tadi. Saya rasa rimak tentang mereka barangkali juga Maria boleh sentuh kerana nak menjelang merdeka nanti akan kotor dan segala macam ya. Soalan ini umum dan agak banyak sebahagiannya komen soal masa depan ya. Jadi saya rasa untuk keempat-empat ahli panel jawab soalan masing-masing ataupun soalan yang berminat dan sekaligus menggulung persoalan yang kita timbulkan tentang apa poin-poin tambahan sekiranya kita ada. Jadi saya ulang daripada awal lah. Sebagai penutupnya mengikut rotation daripada awal tadi iaitu Saudara Gampin Sieu. Silakan.
Terima kasih Fatih. Saya tidak akan ulang apa yang saya sebut sebentar tadi. Cuma satu dua poin saya nak bagi balasan kepada Dr. Dennison yang sebut tadi berkaitan dengan whether there will be further tightening up of the administrations as far as institutions concerned. Of course, our nation, as you all know, we are unlike Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, or Libya, where throughout 30-40 years of dictatorship, the whole institutions of their countries are completely destroyed, demolished. So when the government, when the dictator fell, when you're looking for an alternative government, it wouldn't work, and therefore the militaries come back in power. I'm not that as pessimistic, but I must also say that over the last 20 years or so, even during Tun M's time, there's a clear understanding or even perceptions or reflection that part of our institutions has been destroyed, but it is all the more important now that I keep emphasizing that to keep an institution is not easy. To destroy is easy. It takes 1-2 generations to rebuild it. So it is important that people like all of us here, our friends, our people around us, our people are prepared to voice out secara lantang. Why our people are prepared to take to the street? Because we still have that inner sense of righteousness. What is right and what is wrong, and what is the good values that we must keep and maintain. And therefore it is important, as some of the audience have suggested, that we must give pressures to our members of parliament or state assemblymen to express our view. That's what we want. Don't play too much about party politics at a time when the nation is facing political and economic crisis. That is something, the distractions occur will be too difficult to recover. And what we have seen now, unfortunately, is a brute force of power to stay in power. And that is something, and when I see that there are some leaders who say, my mandate comes from the people. Najib believes that mandates come from people. Is that so? If the mandates come from people, fine. Your mandates come from all the members of parliament, supported by the mandates they collect from their voters. Not you direct. You don't have a direct mandates from the people. You become the leader, no doubt. You let the Barisan Nasional into the elections. You won more seats than your predecessors, no doubt about that. But that doesn't mean that your mandate is always unquestionable. We must wait for another 2 to 3 years. And therefore, I think our nations has developed, have moved on, and people, righteous people, BERSIH and all that, they've tried to push the frontier further. And therefore, I find it is something really admirable, something really noble, if people are supporting the right cause that whenever Maria and his group of people is trying to promote. So let me just find one final point. When we talk about, when the talk of vote of no confidence and all that, there were leaders who say this is a very devious attempt to topple the government. Look, I think all the attempts that we are thinking of, trying to say, try to shout out loud, is not to topple this government. It's to topple Najib alone. We want him to step down for the nation's interest. I think that we must make it very clear. I think Maria has made it very clear also. And as to what Tan Sri Pang mentioned just now, about whether Data Merdeka is the best place, I actually inquired from Maria, any alternative? Would that be become obstruction to the ruptide of the rehearsal of our National Day and all that? Well, I think they were highly disciplined, but maybe one thing that Maria, that I do keep my judging from the past experience that we have witnessed, that is a crowd control, crowd management and crowd disperse policy must be fully established. In fact, I also feel, I'm not even in full agreement with Tan Sri Pang that you must hold it in Bukit Jalil. It's not that. You can even hold a march, walk through the Star Hill, Bukit Bintang and all that as you like. It doesn't matter. We are not Hong Kong, the students in Hong Kong and occupy there for the next 3 months. It's not that. We want to make a point. Even if this time we don't make it, maybe 1-2 months later, I'm sure a lot of people are prepared to donate some money. Maybe not long later will be 2.6 million, not billion, 2.6 million. But I think it will be sufficient sums that's to allow us to mobilize more people to participate in this course of democratic process. Thank you.
Terima kasih kan, Datuk. Ya, ini persoalan yang paling khusus antaranya adalah sentuh sikit masalah long haul perubahan khususnya melibatkan Melayu dan Bumiputra.
Yang pertama ialah kita mesti halang daripada sesiapa yang cuba hijack the Malaysian narrative, dengan memberi kupasan-kupasan, giving all kinds of interpretation yang sebahagiannya saya telah sebutkan di awal tadi. Tentang orang Melayu dan Bumiputra, soalnya ialah sejauh manakah ada parti politik selain daripada UMNO benar-benar dapat meyakinkan mereka bahawa hak mereka dan sebagainya itu akan terus terjamin. Saya sebut begini kerana kalau dilihat kepada keputusan PRU yang lepas, dan ini bukan sahaja orang Melayu, ini satu Malaysia, kira-kira separuh daripada mereka yang mengundi Pakatan Rakyat, about 50% of those who voted for Pakatan Rakyat in the last general election voted for Pakatan Rakyat because they don't like Barisan Nasional. I think the strategy is, I'm not supposed to say this, but for opposition party, the strategy should be, how can you change people from voting against UMNO and Barisan towards voting for you in the real sense of the word? I think that is the real challenge. That is the point, Kalau itu mampu dicapai, maka UMNO dan BN akan kalah dari segi sokongan Melayu dan Bumiputra. Yang kita ada di depan ialah DAP. DAP berusaha sedaya upaya, kelihatan berusaha sedaya upaya untuk meramaikan tokoh Melayu di kalangan mereka. Tapi saya bimbang DAP tak sempat mengubah persepsi orang Melayu terhadapnya sebelum PRU 14. PKR adalah sebuah parti yang multiracial, di peringkat atasannya, tetapi di bawahnya masih predominantly Melayu. Sejauh mana pula PKR dapat mainkan peranannya di pentas nasional? Ya, sebab kalau dilihat comparison antara DAP dengan pakatan dengan PKR dari segi advocating public policy, nampak macam DAP lebih ke depan daripada pakatan. Can pakatan be as quickly and as proactive as DAP? That is the challenge. Ni bunyi macam saya penganalisis politik pula. Now, yang akhir sekali ialah the long haul. Apa yang berlaku pada 29 dan 30 yang akan datang, BERSIH 4, apa yang mungkin berlaku di Dewan Rakyat mulai 19 Oktober yang akan datang, itu kita kena tunggu dan lihat. Tetapi hakikatnya ialah kita berhadapan dengan dua soalan. The first question is political change. The second question is institutional reform. I will not go into a debate about which one comes first. I think both must go together. Yeah. You cannot have only political change without institutional reform. Nanti kita akan mengulangi kisah-kisah di tempat-tempat yang lain. Berlaku political change, reform tak berlaku secepatnya, rakyat jadi frustrated, another round of uncertainties. Itu tak boleh berlaku. Kalau nak tunggu berlaku institutional change sebelum political change pun payah juga. It's almost impossible. So both must work together. Now, what do some of us have to do? Because some of us may not be as active as Maria, may not be as articulative as Datuk Kadir Jasin dan sebagainya. I think some of us have to play that role to actually sit down. I would encourage Malaysian to sit down, to start a conversation. I know they have started for a long time, but seriously sit down and talks about the kind of laws and policies that all Malaysians deserve to have. If need be, establish a depository of prospective laws and policies. Jangan sehingga berlaku political change baru kita nak cari mana itu paper tentang ini, mari ada parliamentary reform paper, C4 not the bomb, C4 the organisation ada paper on this one, Azrul ada ini. I think we should start. So some of us must start that depository of actual papers. Some may have to start drafting laws if you have to. In fact, I would recommend some of us have to start really drafting laws. Whatever law that you think that Malaysian deserve to have better. Jadi ini adalah proses-proses yang mesti berlaku seiring. BERSIH 4, tunggu Dewan Rakyat dan prepare for real institutional reform. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Ini macam cadangan bank idea lah, bank polisi untuk reform supaya kita tak termangu-mangu nak mencari jalan untuk menuju apabila kalau ada political change. Dan banyak model boleh diambil dan sekitar kita dengan luar yang kita belajar cari pilihannya. Tapi barangkali kita belum sampai tahap yang betul-betul kritikal yang rasa misalnya seperti di Indonesia tahun 1998 ya, dia berlangsung political change dengan ada pilihan sedikit political widening of political rights, free and fair election atau dan istilah Indonesia jujur dan adil jurdil dan pembukaan kebebasan media. Jadi okey, kembali kepada soalan dan juga penggulangan untuk Maria, iaitu soal dataran mereka, soal betul ke tak jemput PAS ke dalam BERSIH ya, dan bagaimana kesan PAS tak mengerahkan ahli ke perhimpunan hujung minggu ni. Silakan Maria.
Okay, I just take the past one and then go on to the others. I think for past, when we first started the announcement of BERSIH 4, we invited all political parties. In fact, we courier the letters to all the political parties, and Hadi Awang has actually got our letter. But when we actually asked them whether they could actually help us with the unit amal. We made many efforts, and I personally made the effort to actually contact them. And Tuan Ibrahim was the contact. And when I was actually contacting them, I think that they started issuing statements. One was that Hadi Awang actually says that they are not encouraging members to actually go for BERSIH, for rally, and that they will only send 2 members, although they support the demands of BERSIH 4. Actually, Hadi Awang actually never say that they are against the BERSIH 4 demands. He actually says that they will not join and they will only send 2. And we met the 2. We met the 2 at PAS HQ, and we had a discussion about security. And they were supposed to come back to us, but before they come back to us, we saw the letter from PAS that actually says that they are not even including 2 of them to come for the rally. So, and subsequently also, I think Tantawi also made a statement that, you know, street rally is not it's not a PAS culture anymore. So, so that is the history of why PAS is not coming for BERSIH 4. I think that we have made a lot of effort to actually include PAS, because I think that BERSIH can be the bridge, yeah, for all the political parties, and we tried. The other thing is that I think that every time when we have street protests, the idea that most people have is that it will bring about kecoh. And so therefore the responsibility is always on the organizers. But I think that if we are talking about freedom of assembly, then we need to take it from a different angle, in that if we actually support people to come out to the street in whatever form of protest, then institutions like the police should be there to actually take care of our safety and security. But unfortunately, our institutions don't even have that perspective. They think that it is people's responsibility to actually make sure that, you know, you don't break their street furniture. We were told suddenly there's this new word called street furniture, or that, you know, you are not supposed to throw smoke bomb, you are supposed to take care of that. I think that that kind of idea has to go if we are talking about our freedom of assembly, because we should be able to be on the streets, and our safety and security should be in the hands of the police, not in the hands of so much the organizers. Although, of course, the organizers can actually take care in terms of marshalling, make sure that, you know, they cross the road and do a little bit of crowd control. Definitely there's some responsibility on the Penganjo side. But I think that, you know, most of the responsibility has to fall onto the institutions like the police. And why they don't take up that kind of responsibility is that they do lack this human rights approach as to how they see freedom. I think that, you know, what is happening to our country presently now is that it is not just about the leadership. It's not just about the leadership not being accountable and transparent. Because even if we get rid of Najib, there's no guarantee that the next leader will not do the same thing. Yeah, and we have many, many leaders, and it's a continuation of the corruption, of 1MDB, of PKFZ. These are continuation and a built-up. Perhaps the present Prime Minister does it even better. He has learned from experience. But I think that that kind of thing has to change. And I actually do feel that political parties have to have that maturity to rise above politics and not see themselves as opposition versus the ruling party. In other countries, ruling parties and also the opposition have come together to form coalition. Sri Lanka is, in terms of economic growth and all that, we are much better. But recently, they managed to form a national government between the ruling government and the opposition to actually come together to try to see how they can actually get out of their economic and political crisis. If a country like Sri Lanka and many other countries can do it, I don't see why Malaysia cannot do it. Rather than finger pointing at each other, that it is you who don't really want to take a stand on the position, I think that everybody now, in order to save our country and pull it out of this crisis, the political parties have to work together. And if we want a vote of no confidence and ask Najib to actually come down, then they have to actually rise above politics and say that, this is for the country, not for my political party.
Saya tahu jawapan dia, kenapa susah di Malaysia banding tempat lain. Kerana kita mempromosikan muafakat, konsensus, gotong royong. Dan sekiranya sebab itu sebabnya, maka kita tak buat, kita hanya mempromosikannya saja. Jadi, Datuk, soalan terakhir dan kupasan sekali, khususnya tentang pandangan tadi, yang kata dua-duanya tak boleh. Apa lagi pilihan-pilihan yang mungkin dan juga bagaimana perjalanan kita seterusnya selepas daripada isu protes rakyat dan juga Dewan Rakyat ni?
Kita memerlukan perpetual optimist. Orang yang sentiasa yakin seperti Maria dan Dr. Denison, he is a perpetual optimist. Perpetual optimist, bukan opportunist. Optimist. I have given up on many things that he shared dearly, he loved dearly. He has been calling me for meetings to revive this and that. I said, enough is enough. We have tried, we have failed. I'm moving on to doing something else. He keep doing it. He's a perpetual optimist. All of you should be like him. All right? Just to answer or try to understand what he's saying. We are facing a situation where the government or the head of the government, the head of administration is facing siege mentality or experiencing siege mentality. Kalau kita ingat, benda ini terdedah apabila media massa, khususnya media massa atas talian, Malaysiakini termasuk, mula mendedahkan berkenaan dengan One Malaysia Development. It was a purely corporate kind of thing, isu corporate. Tetapi daripada isu itu, isu One Malaysia Development mendedahkan bermacam-macam bentuk manipulasi yang membabitkan orang teratas dalam negara kita. Kemudian itu mencetuskan krisis politik. Sebelum tercetus krisis politik pun, kita sudah mula mengalami krisis ekonomi. Apabila harga minyak mentah jatuh, harga getah jatuh, harga kelapa sawit jatuh, semuanya jatuh. Ini adalah core element of our economy. Bila krisis ekonomi diburukkan oleh krisis politik, apa yang kita hadapi sekarang? Tidak ada keyakinan, tidak ada kepercayaan kepada kerajaan. Kita tengok yang terakhir, sebuah jawatan kuasa ekonomi ditubuhkan. Is it a committee? An economic committee headed by Wahid. What has happened to the economic advisory, the Prime Minister's economic advice? So jadi kita menghadapi satu situasi di mana kerajaan tidak lagi dipercayai dan kerajaan tidak lagi diyakini. Kita tengok nilai ringgit kita merudum. 3 minggu dulu, para penganalisis mengatakan mustahil ringgit Malaysia akan jatuh di bawah paras RM4. It's impossible for Malaysian currency to fall below the psychological what do you call it? Psychological ceiling of 4%. It has been tumbling today. Nothing is done. We are actually in a terrible economic crisis. The ringgit has fallen to 4.3. Right? Well, it's not falling in Malaysia now because we are not trading, but it's falling in India, it's falling in Saudi Arabia, it's falling in Europe. Our currency is being traded 24 hours a day. The Prime Minister sleep at least 6 hours a day. So we are facing terrible crisis. For the first time in 5 years, our Bank Negara foreign reserves had fallen below 100 billion US dollars. And it's falling at the rate of what? 4 billion a month? Well, at the rate that we are falling, we will not be able to sustain 7 months, 6 months import. And one minister said, the falling ringgit will cause more people to come and visit Malaysia. We have to import food for them. We have to import food for them at a higher price. So I think we are facing two very important, two very dangerous crises. Economic crisis, political crisis. Political crisis is due to the government not anymore enjoying, don't talk about confidence, trust is more important. So I think some sort of change must happen. Right? Some sort of change must happen. That's why I said, if it is Tengku Razali, so let it be. Right? But for Tengku Razali to be able to marshal enough vote in the parliament to change the leadership, it's not that easy. Why? Because back to my earlier argument, it has become an inclusive government. We thought people like Syarif Samad is above all this. Then we learned he also received money. And he's quiet now. So you make noise, they will say, you also receive money, you also receive money. So everybody be quiet. So I am not very, very optimistic about a change because of BERSIH, after BERSIH in the parliament in the near future. But if it happens, then all of you can come and kick me for my pessimism. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih banyak kepada Datuk. Terima kasih tepukan gemuruh kepada empat-empat ahli panel kita. Sejak 2 jam lebih tadi. Yang ujung sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, kepada saudara Gan Sieu, kepada Datuk A Kadir Jasin, kepada Malaysiakini. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Tepukan gemuruh untuk ahli panel. Ini satu perbincangan yang hangat tentang masalah kita hadapi dan kita cuba merungkaikan persoalan-persoalan ini. Terima kasih juga kepada hadirin hadirat, kepada kawan-kawan media yang hadir pada hari ini. Jika ada soal jawab PC selepas ini, boleh bertemu dengan ahli-ahli panel selepas ini ya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih kepada semua ahli panel dan juga moderator, dan terima kasih banyak-banyak kepada hadirin sekalian, dan diharap semua dapat sekali input yang diberi oleh ahli panel, dan jangan lupa untuk mendownload aplikasi Prime kini di App Store, dan semoga kita berjumpa lagi di lain masa dan di lain forum, dan mungkin kita akan jumpa pada Sabtu dan Ahad ni insyaAllah. Sekian, terima kasih daripada saya Zulaika Zulkifli, wartawan Malaysiakini, dan juga daripada Malaysiakini sendiri. Assalamualaikum dan selamat malam.
Mungkin bukan begitu kot, dia mungkin 1.5 kot.